Good morning, boys and girls. This is Mr. Rodriguez, and today's read aloud is Not Norman, a goldfish story. So it's written by Kelly Bennett, and I would say the first year we started with our pre-K program, we read this on a special day. So we kept it because we're doing it for pets. A goldfish can be a pet, and his name is Norman. It's the story of a boy who wanted a pet and hoped to get a pet that was different, and he did, but not the one he wanted, which happens to be this one. Let's see what happens in the story, shall we? Not Norman by Kelly Bennett. When I got Norman, I didn't want to keep him. I wanted a different kind of pet. Not Norman. So he got it for his birthday. Not what he wanted. I wanted a pet who could run and catch, or one who could climb trees and chase strings. A soft, furry pet to sleep on my bed at night. Not Norman. All Norman does is swim around and 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 around. This is it, Norman, I decided. I'm trading you for a good pet. Norman doesn't move. Not even a fin twitches. How can I trade him like this? No one will want a sorry-looking fish in a gunky bowl. When I dropped Norman into his nice clean bowl, he starts dipping and flipping, flapping his fins around. He looks so goofy, I have to laugh. Don't think that just because you made me laugh, I'm going to keep you. I tell him, tomorrow you're out of here. Norman blows a stream of bubbles. Looks like he's talking to him, right? The next day, I take Norman to school with me. If I talk him up real good during show and tell, maybe someone will want him. On the way there, we see my friend Austin. Austin has a real cool dog and 7 puppies. Wanna swap one of your pups for Norman? I ask. Who's Norman? Asks Austin. My goldfish, I say. By the time I rescue Norman, half of his water is gone. Sheesh. I'm sorry, I tell Norman when I get to school. I'm really sorry. I just stare, and he just stares at me, all googly-eyed. Finally, it's my turn to show and tell. Just as I start to talk about goldfish, Emily shouts, Jenny's gone! Who let my snake loose? Uh-oh. And that's what happens when she said that. Does anyone hear the story of how I got Norman? Does anyone even ask to hold his bowl? No. They're all jumping and screaming and chasing the snake, not Norman. He's looking right at me. Thanks for listening, I tell him. That afternoon we got to my music lesson. As soon as it's over, I'm taking Norman back to the pet store. I take out my tuba and begin to play. Boom, 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 ba, 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 boom, boom, ba, ba, bee, bee, bee. I glance over at Norman. He's swaying back and forth. Glue, 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 glue. He mouths. Look, Norman's singing, I say. Pay attention, snaps Maestro, and try to play the proper notes. Maestro makes me stay for extra practice. By the time my lesson is over, it's too late to go to the pet store. Don't think that just because you like my music, I'm going to keep you, I tell Norman. He gulps. He gloats. That night, I'm sound asleep when scratch. What's that noise? Scratch, scritch, screech. Yikes! There's something at the window. Then out of the corner of my eye, I spot. What does he spot? Norman! He isn't scared. He isn't swimming around in circles either. He gulps and gives me a little wave. I'm not alone. Together, Norman and I slide open the curtains. It was just a broken tree branch. Thanks for watching out for me, Norman. On Saturday, I take Norman to the pet store, just like I said I would. I look at the cats and dogs and snakes and birds. I look at the hamsters and mice and lizards too. They all look like good pets, but they are not Norman. When I got Norman, I wasn't sure I wanted to keep him. But now, even if I could pick any pet in the whole world, I wouldn't trade him. Not Norman. The end. Very nice story, isn't it? Well, let's go over this. Here's my new easel. It's not as tall as you want it, but it works. And let's go over this. What did you learn about Norman? Norman is what kind of pet? I'm going to put Norman. What is Norman? He's what? That's right. Norman is a pet. Norman is a pet. What kind of pet? Good. Norman is a fish. What else can he do? What does he do? Let's put it that way. What does he do? He what? He swims. Norman can swim. Good. What else can he do? Norman can make bubbles. What does he need in order to survive? He needs what? Norman needs water. If you don't put him in the water, he's going to die. So you need to give him water. What else? Yes. Very good. Norman needs food. Good. So there it is. Norman is a pet. Norman is a fish. Norman can swim. Norman needs water. Norman needs food. Norman can make bubbles. So what I want you to do is I want you to take out your journal and draw Norman. And you're going to say, I don't know how to draw a fish. I hear it. I already hear you. You make an oval. Let me make it up here. Make an oval. Put a triangle. There is Norman. That's Norman. And if you want him to see his eye and his mouth, you might want to put another color like black. Exactly. And there he is. Draw Norman and try to write something that you learned from him. Okay? In your journal. I will be visiting you very soon. I want you to have other stuff that you need to support to continue learning. So, in the meantime, please do me a favor. Watch the next video on math pattern blocks. Math pattern blocks. Ready? See you later. Bye.